Welcome to Grant Writing with Michelle. I'm your host, Michelle Rollins, and you are on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM. And I'm also joined with Mike King, which is powered by Mike King Biz Media. So thank you, Mike, for being here today.
All right, it's always an honor. Always good to have you. And we got the main man on behind the wheels of steel. He is the expert on the camera.
Yes, he is. Always.
Shout out to Marion Parker out there. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So today I thought you would join in and maybe we could have some conversations on the ins and outs of being a business professional, being a fundraising professional, and what I do for organizations and businesses. Anyways, so thank you for having me. So, we were just talking about maybe sometimes we have to have a plan A, plan B, plan C. And I feel like part of what I do, I always have to have that representing different organizations and businesses with their fundraising needs.
So you talk about being a fundraiser, and that is the one part about it. There's so much more that you do.
There is.
And there's that part of business that's important, which is getting money in to continue with the mission. So, it's fundraising, but it also is a strategist. There's a person there to answer the questions that the people have, but people want to pigeonhole you into, that's all she does. She's a fundraiser. But we're doing the grant writing things, and also you are a major connector. And more than the other things is to me, that's important, which is some people. And you know how to make things happen.
Yes, it's really the big piece of the pie is knowing and building those relationships. It's really the key, the difference between just a grant writer kind of wanting to work from home that just wants to do the grant, may not be connected with the organization as much as some consultants do. There's not many people like me that like to come on the show and say what I do, but because I also fundraise, and I've done this a really long time kind of in the trenches, and I've really learned from great mentors how to build those relationships up. And that's what really separates me from another grant writer, maybe that works for a big nonprofit, multi-million-dollar profit. I help the ones that are really kind of the small ones, the local ones, as well as medium-sized here in Virginia and beyond. I help them with not only with their grant writing, but the grant management, which grant management takes a long time. I mean, you're not only researching, but you are setting up a 12-month calendar of opportunities for that organization. And then you're making sure they're in line with that organization. You want to be very intentional with those fundraising needs, not just say, I think we should apply for here. And then you want to set them up with connecting with those grant makers, and then also some folks that also help with their fundraising needs for not events necessarily, but corporates that come on and help them, because a lot of times they don't have the funding to kind of start up, or they might have had a fundraising professional prior to COVID, and I'm coming in because maybe it wasn't a good fit for them and they didn't get anything out of the experience and it didn't benefit them as a whole. So for instance, this is the last quarter, as you know what that means. And so I'm focusing on trying to get as much bang for our buck for those organizations and businesses, as well as moving into 2025. And right now I'm working on research for a few new clients coming up that they want the research calendar set for 12 months, looking for alignments, connections, and then I have some faith-based organizations. I have not only helped with their needs of starting up their programs with their missions of their church, they're faith-based, but also building up those local relationships that they need really hard because they're struggling. And then also finding grant opportunities not only for their programs, but for building purposes, structure. So I'm helping them with them, as well as helping with their documents. Again, it's not just I'm a grant writer, I can help you with this one grant opportunity. It takes time. I don't go in with any client and say, I'm going to get you easy, quick money, because it's not about that quick money. It's about the longevity, building those relationships up. And usually that helps you with success in your grant, because you want to build those. You want people to know that you're not out just to get a dollar, that you have a purpose on connecting. They want to know you in line with them and you in line with them as well, if that makes sense.
Grant writer extraordinaire. But I learned something all the time. I heard something I didn't know. What is a grant maker?
So I use the word grant maker. It is the potential name of the organization that's offering that grant, whether it's a foundation, corporation. So for instance, I have one right now that represents an organization in Henrico, PAL, and we're setting them up for 12 months of grant opportunities that in line with their mission and vision. And those grant makers matter because they didn't just say anybody. They need to know that there's intentional funding out there for them for a certain number. So you're not only focusing on an alignment, but you're focusing on your budget and what you're looking for, building with your programs, as well as is there another purpose on what you're trying to do. So there's also a building purpose. So it's really important you know what you're going in there for.
So the grant writer is the person who delivers the funding.
The grant maker or grant writer?
The grant maker.
Oh, so the grant maker is the person that you're potentially asking for. Can I have this opportunity to write a grant that we have a grant interest with you? Can we have an invite for this? Or if you don't need an invite, you want to show your interest so you're not just one of the hundreds in that pile, in that portal or by mail that applied for that grant.
That pile.
Yes.
That pile. Okay. So you've been in grant writing and fundraising for a long time.
Yes.
This media is a new evolution of sort of what you do.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the transition, how you've incorporated this in, because this helps your people too. Just like a couple weeks ago, we were here with suicide prevention. Mm-hmm. Because now all of a sudden you're able to give a platform to people who want and need a voice.
Yes. So I was lucky enough that our paths crossed a couple years ago, and it crossed because you also care and give back to our community, and you were giving in a couple different organizations I was representing, and I felt that I could hear the voice when I came to you and I was representing them. I could feel it. I knew that you had an impact and a voice, and I could see what it was doing. It was impactful and powerful to the community, and that resonated with me. And I said, this is something different because it's not a podcast, and then it's not necessarily doing the networking, which I'm used to doing for a very long time with all the different networking events. Yes, face-to-face matters, but this platform is rare, especially with the brand that you come along with it. And you also give back, so it's like a very good full circle. And a lot of the times your circles have aligned with mine with certain organizations, and that continues to build up.
Yes.
And as a fundraising and grant writer, I know that's very important to continue building your networking and your relationships, because you need that when you are as successful at getting money for folks. I always believed, and I've told multiple people I used to represent, that you can't be in a cubicle. You can't be sitting in an office and get the work done. Yes, people will send you money for that organization, people that believe in it. Maybe they have a purpose or they have a personal connect to it. But at the end of the day, to achieve more success and to bring in new folks you're trying to connect to, you need to go out, kind of be the boots on the ground, to do the field work and meet and be willing to do more than just the email. Yes, I'm sure people could hear right now and they're like, yes, I represent a business where I'm a CEO, where I'm in this role at a law office, and I get these emails all the time on, events. Can you be a sponsor? Can you do something? And, a lot of people will say, they don't want to just give to anything. They want to feel the power. They want to feel the connect. And I'm able to see how one small connection can lead to other doors and opportunities out there. That's what's really impressive. Is like, I have one client, I've been with them a couple years, and this year alone, one grant opened a door to many other grants that particular client was unable to get because they were so new. And when you go do the site visits, you meet with the grant makers, it shows that you're giving time. And then when you tell them where you live and how long it took you there, and what you do, they're like, wow, I'm very impressed. I want to know more.
Because you did come from, you checked your passport a couple of times. Yes.
Yes. I mean, even here in the studio, it takes me time, but I know the investment it's worth it. And giving time is the difference between sometimes doing the virtual. Virtual's great. I do a lot of meetings by virtual, but I know that impact in person can be felt better. If you could do all the meetings with people across the different states, that would be great. But not everything's meant to be in person. But those ones that you can make all the difference. You and I wouldn't have been the same if we would have done just a virtual
No,
meeting years ago.
it would not have happened. Let me ask you about this part right here, which is the grant writing, the donations, all those things get money in-house, and that money is sorely needed to make whatever needs to happen. Mm-hmm. The mission does not happen without.
Right. And each opportunity, that money's designated to a spot. You can't just go write a grant and suspect, we're just going to pay your light bill. Some nonprofits unfortunately think it's going to solve the problem of where they are now, but they really got to understand that this is extra money. This is a longevity invested into what's going to be in the future. If you need money now, you need to focus on maybe finding a better connection, a better group, not being afraid to go out of your comfort zone and meeting people that believe in what you do. Mm-hmm. And you got to be able to take the risk when you are leading a nonprofit. You got to make sure that that you have this support team with you. Like, for instance, if you're a small nonprofit if you're just a founder, CEO or ED, and you're representing that organization, and you say, no, I can't afford to bring everybody in, but I'm going to do this myself, you're going to find that you're overly stretched. As a fundraising consultant, I'm stretched a lot, but I'm very good at delegating my time, and I'm able to be transparent and see a lot of the holes with a lot of organizations and be able to say, okay, this is where we need to tackle this, or we need to find a way to connect better with these folks to keep bringing them on every year. Because I believe in those partnerships and when I'm doing sponsors and bringing in folks to support long haul, because that's really what is the backbone to the programs. Volunteers, I see, are the backbones of many organizations, because a lot of time they can't afford to have employees. So, and it is how you treat your employees or your volunteers as well, because you got to remember they don't have to be there.
No.
And we talked about this a few weeks ago on my show with why volunteers matter, and it's very important that we know that they're part of that organization, whether they're part of a board, which I'm part of at Fort Gregg Adams, and I'm able to see the ins and outs. And I think it's in that role and my other roles for the military that I officially carried that really helped me learn how to be a professional and really understanding and know what to say and how to say it with all of the paperwork. Because as you know, as a veteran,
buried in paperwork.
Yes, SOPs are very important. Everything matters. Everything has a document and a number. Everything.
But we weren't going away from that. We were going to an electronic society. We were going to get rid of paper. And what happened?
They sort of are, but sort of aren't.
Paper's still around. Paper is still thriving.
Yes. So.
All right, really quick. Okay, so you did talk about that. You're in a competitive business. Like,
Yes.
well, I'm in sales too.
Yes.
Everybody got somebody.
Yes, you can easily replace anytime.
And they are good with that person regardless of until Michelle comes along. And now it's not just the writing, it's the understanding the process, how to position yourself over here.
Yes.
They got that person like, I'm going to do everything. And they're sitting down, they're doing this, they're writing their grants, and they're wondering why they ain't getting no money.
Yes, I mean, I see it and hear it a lot.
Yes.
I have one client I brought on a couple of months ago, and I met them by accident at a county building near where I live, because they were like, I see what you do and I need your help. I need what your services. Can you help me? And it's amazing because I go above and beyond to do more because they show gratitude, and I know that before me they got scammed.
Oh.
And that really hurts my heart because I don't know. Everybody, just like what you do, there's always somebody out there that's finding a way to, to
cut the corner.
Yeah. And my guest last week mentioned that sometimes there's scams, and that's why the police do preventions and stuff. And unfortunately, it happens all over the place, just like in emails. So, usually the folks that I'm representing kind of hit a rock and a hard place. A lot of them keep going through staff a lot, and they can't keep staff. I mean, I go through some organizations. I've been there long enough now. I think I've went through like 4 financial people. And I'm like, wow, that says a lot. But I'm trying to do my best to help the overall mission and do what I'm set out to do. And then at the same time, with inflation too, I have to be mindful of my time and where I'm at and where I live But I do all that I can. I attend some of the different programs so I can get a great view and be able to have an impactful storytelling on it. And also, I mean, everybody I work for is something that is important to me, which is education, veterans, military, first responders, and children and youth. Those are my areas because those are areas I've been a part of for so long. I just know it behind, with my eyes shut. It's easy for me. And it's very time consuming. I mean, grant writing is not for the faint of heart. It's very time consuming, and you've got to be able to write and focus. And some people think it's so easy, you can do it in an hour, 2 hours to write this. No, if it's something, you got to remember it's not a one size fits all. You got to be able to be very strategic and intentional in what you're writing, so that person, that grant maker that's reading it, feels that they're the only person reading it, and it's directed to them and it fits their vision and mission, and you've done your homework and research with that potential funding opportunity.
One of the things I talk to people about as writers, creatives, musicians, when the grant is done, is it done?
No.
Okay, so here we go. So you're going back, tweaking, and doing all those things.
Well,
when
it's
do
not
you
tweaking.
know when do you know it's done?
So when you apply with your grant maker and you get the award, then you need to be very mindful, which I already...
No. We ain't talking that. We're talking, you're writing it out. I'm trying to appeal to the grant maker. When you write it up, and you're good, are you good? Or
no, you double check it. You get a second. So one thing I'm not afraid to say, I mean, I was an English teacher prior to being a grant writer. So in education, you learn to work with the team. And so I have great founders, EDs that, I'll say, I want you to double check, or I'll say, I want you to tag along with the grant maker visit, because again, it's not my mission. It's not my organization.
You go to a grant maker visit sometime?
I do.
Oh, so they have, you come here and make your pitch?
No, not necessarily. There is some like that. You go to the meetings. There's quite a few there's many like that. But there's some that really want to go step into the program.
They want you to come in and explain what you do as opposed to sending something.
Well, no, you still send it. You still do all of that process. And then there's a lot, like for instance, I have several I applied in January, and several that are, we've got it to the last steps, and we'll find out in a few weeks if we got these big awards. And then they give us the actual funding in December. It doesn't stop. And then you have some you get in less than 3 months. But the ones that want to do grant maker visits usually take anywhere from 6 to 8 months.
And is that dependent upon the size of it, or just the organization?
The organization
wants to be
the
a
way
part.
They have everything structured. And I say that I'm on a board of directors as well. So it's really led by however their organization is set up. And there's dedicated, believe it or not, there's boards out there that aren't even getting paid that have very prestigious jobs, but they still want to go do the grant maker visits and work with the team to say this is what separates them from this organization, especially if you're competing. And there might be one organization that has a way bigger budget than this one over here, and then they go and they get feels of the smaller one, then they're going to give to whichever one gave them the feels with that proposal that you were.
It levels the playing field there.
It does. And in videos too, I've done a few videos that's the new thing this year. I've noticed more than last year doing this, for quite some time. Videos are now something.
What is it, like your elevator pitch?
No, it's just part of the extra. And I tell people, don't go buy marketing funds for
like
this.
A promo video, like a sizzle.
Yeah. So you just take a few clips from the actual program, make it as organic as possible, and then if you want to add something, go for it. But it's just like adding a brochure.
Gotcha.
But many want to see that. And in several AI is frowned upon in a lot of the grant maker worlds. They'll actually have it down and let you know, do not AI grant.
Because people will.
I think it's become something. I'm older, so I think giving your own organic, real authentic writing is important, because I was an English teacher and I was always discouraged my students, especially high schoolers, not to cheat on their work.
Now here you are, a grant writer. Okay, let me take the easy way out.
Yeah, so I think it's important to show to be authentic in your writing, especially when there's so many competing out there for the same grant opportunities. Especially like here in RVA, for instance, you have a lot of the same, like the Community Foundation, or you have the Cameron Foundation in Petersburg. You have the John Randolph Foundation. I've known them a really long time because of my board of directors role at Fort Gregg Adams. They're all getting bigger and then more organizations are coming through because they're getting larger. So ones that were in RVA are now in Hopewell serving children, and John Randolph is giving that support. So you got to be really mindful of how that landscape is constantly changing. Hence why I know a lot of the foundations in the area, as well as that go beyond Virginia, because you got to build those relationships. I mean, I had a work call with a potential in Florida a couple weeks ago. They have a veteran ranch where they're helping disabled veterans, and they're like, we need help, and so-and-so told me about you and I need your help. And I said, well, tell me a little bit more about what you're doing. And they're even seeking support in Texas. I mean, again, I have clients that go beyond Virginia, and they have programs all over the place, and it's very important that we're very strategic in those areas of getting funding where their programs are at, not just here in Richmond, Virginia.
Here you go, Michelle Rollins.
Yes. So, do you have any final thoughts, Mike?
That's it. I gave you all I had.
So just like you have sponsorships, I do sponsorships as well. And man, they take time, they take energy, and you got to be very impactful and intentional when you connect with potential clients or customers, because you got to make sure they're a good fit, just like what you do. And you have your brand, which you're trying to connect nonprofits and businesses in the same ecosystem, and it's very close to that for fundraising as well. You're trying to connect the right people, the right foundations and businesses with the right organizations that are looking for money.
That's why you're the best out there, Michelle Rollins, grant writer extraordinaire. But it's not just that. It's no funding. It is the informational, educational piece that you bring to the leaders. That way, it is able, because those funds that come in can be a game changer.
They are. It's really, I have told previous and current clients, and it really is all about the education. I'm getting ready to do a course next week on finding grants with Empower People with Tiffany Green. And I encourage you to sign up for her show, because that's a free, by the way, that's free.
It's free.
Knowledge out there. And I know there's quite a few folks that are coming from different organizations in Chesterfield County and Richmond that have signed up for it. Because it is such a great course to take, because most of the time you have to pay for those courses. Just want to put that out there. And so you can actually join in for this course. And finding grants is something that you can't find in a lot of people that are in organizations leading, or sometimes that's the last on their list. They're more focused on, what can I get for this event? What can I get for a corporate sponsor? But I don't know anything about grants. I mean, I've been a director of development, and part of my role was writing grants, but at the same time, the mission was making sure that everything else got done first. So organizations are stretched thin, and that's why they bring me in as the consultant, because they need that person to come in and help them. But at the same time, I can't do it all. You got to be very honest and open of where you need the help, and also, allow me to be very, very transparent with you of what I think as well, because that's what makes a difference and makes it successful. So if you don't know where to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Michelle Rollins. Last name's Rollins, no W in my name. You can also find me on YouTube at Michelle Rollins Grants. It's honestly, my channel has become a very inspiring, powerful, impactful storytelling channel that shows the